And we have to do establish some kind of framework or incentive scheme to promote private sector investment into circularity push. And from public sector, new circularity programs, incentive and support in terms of fiscal policies, tax and other things, inclusion of circularity goals into the ongoing program. As we know that Bangladesh has very large success in SDG, so we have to embed circularity goals into that. And financial sector can also promote the startup culture, promote the existing industries to establish circularity programs so that they can loop back some of the materials that they are wasting now. And some startup ecosystem is established in Bangladesh, so we can tap that. Next slide, please. And there are many international programs ongoing. All major international entities, they have some kind of circularity related program from which Bangladesh can take advantage of, and there are international panelists. From them, we can learn more about this. So with this, I end my talk. So thank you for patient hearing.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we are arranging the stage for the panel discussion.
Who's their next president, but many of the country's youngest and brightest are looking to leave Nigeria, frustrated with its shortcomings. We'll have that when we come back.
You can say Bangladesh is an economic marvel, and it's the new Bangladesh. In the last 12 years, Bangladesh became $470 billion economy.
Do you think Bangladesh can be a role model for developing countries?
On the backdrop of robust infrastructural growth and social equity, Bangladesh set the ground right for the future. It is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Bangladesh is now firmly on course to be a developed nation by 2041. With the continuous policy support for business, we the private sector are taking the challenge. Our population is now converting into human assets. And with the
Ladies and gentlemen, now I kindly request our Chief Guest, Saber Hussain Chaudhary MP, former President of Inter-Parliamentary Union, to come to the stage and take your seat. I also call our special guest on the stage, Dr. Farhina Ahmed, Secretary, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. I call our guest of honor, Mr. Yusuf Abdullah Haroon, MP, former President of BCCI, Chairman Asia Insurance Limited, and Ms. Zoena Aziz, former Principal Coordinator, Sustainable Development Goals, SDG, Prime Minister Office. I also call on stage today's panelists, His Excellency Charles Whiteley, Ambassador and Head of Delegation of the European Union of Bangladesh, Faisal Rabbi, Stakeholder and Public Affairs Manager, H&M Bangladesh, Ms. Yunju Alison E., Senior Environmental Specialist, Environment, Natural Resources and Blue Economy Global Practice, ENB, Ms. Shamima Akhtar, Director, Corporate Affairs, Partnerships and Communication, Unilever Bangladesh, Ms. Shamim Ahmed, President, Bangladesh Plastic Goods Manufacturers and Exporters Association, BPGME, Dr. Muhammad Musharraf Hussain, Institute of Forestry and Environmental Sciences, University of Chittagong, Mr. Syed Navid Hussain, Group Director and CEO, Bangladesh Export-Import Company Limited, Beximco. Our today's session chair and moderator, Dr. Zakir Zaman, Country Representative, UNIDO. Our convener, Mr. Abu Motalev, Director, ABCCI, to come to the stage and take your seat. I now kindly request our session chair and moderator, Dr. Zakir Zaman, Country Representative, UNIDO, to carry on our today's session.
Thank you very much. Honorable Chief Guest, with your permission, we'd like to start the panelist session. We have 5 panelists. We already know who they are. My first question would be to Mr. Shami Mohammed. In order to save time, I am going quickly. Mr. Shami Mohammed, I have 2 questions for you. One, what can Bangladesh do to take advantage of global shift towards sustainability and enhance reuse and recycling of plastic towards a more circular economy? And number 2, what role can private sector play in this regard? Over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Zakir Zaman. Actually, I am from the plastic, so my question I hopefully for the plastic. As you know, the plastic always when comes, it means the plastic and pollution come together. So maybe Dr. Zakir Zaman asked me this question for this. From the association and from the plastic sector, we are negotiating with the government for giving the tax exemption, tax benefit for the circular for the recycling, and as you know, the 50% of the plastic material we are now recycling, and we are expecting that recycling will be increased further with the automation and more investment. As you know, the United Nations Environment Assembly has Resolution 5.2, they requested all the government to make the more investment in the plastic recycling, waste management, and the infrastructure development. I request the government to come forward to make the more investment for the infrastructure. And for the circular economy, FBCCI has done almost 3 seminars on the circular economy. And we have recommended to the ministry, to the government, that to develop a circular economy cell or division to look after the government intervention and policy making. So I hope that this will solve the problem of the plastic as well as the other waste management. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For the sake of time, I'm not going to summarize your speech. My second question would be to Ms. Shamima Akhtar, Director, Corporate Affairs, Partnership and Communications, Unilever Bangladesh Limited. Ms. Akhtar, what is the business case around plastic waste recycling and what potential exists for investors? Number 2, what sort of opportunities does Bangladesh vibrant domestic market provides for enhanced investment in circular economy, both focused for domestic and export markets? Over to you.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. And we had seen 2, keynote speakers who has, explained the challenge as well as potential. Unilever is a company that produces FMCG products that we use every day. And plastic is a very important material for us because it helps us to send our product at the last mile. So plastic is very important for us. But of course, plastic also brings, as Mr. Shamim has said, that it brings pollution as well. And our keynote speaker has mentioned that this is not only the waste management problem, it's a system, holistic system that we have to build. And I will refer to Mr. Shamim's quote. He has mentioned that around 50% of our plastic get recycled. This is mostly rigid or, strong plastic. Holistically, we know that only 37% of our plastic gets recycled. This is a lot higher than the global average. Global average is 9%. Why this happened? Yeah, our previous speaker has mentioned that Bangladesh has got the culture of utilizing the assets. And one industry's waste become another industry's input material. So that's the kind of beauty of circularity. But we have to remember that currently, our per capita consumption is lower than many developed countries. It is 9 kg per year per person. For Dhaka, which is a capital, which is 20 kg per person. This is going to increase with our, economic growth. And that also poses a challenge that currently the informal sector we have who, collect those plastics, right? This is an informal sector. This is going to go down. That's where we see that the global investor should look at Bangladesh, because we do have a culture of recycling. Already we do have. We know how to utilize our asset. What we are lacking is the technology intervention. At this moment, we see that informal sector manually doing the sorting, right? That's where we have to develop technology so that this manual intervention can be removed. Our human working environment also improved. We have seen Begzimco has shared the also good practices as well. And we must see, these global delegations see Bangladesh as a potential area where they can bring intervention, because our ministry is also looking into the right policy here. All put together, we have to look into single-use plastic recycling facilities. There are more technologies all over the world. How can we bring it? And with the commitment of Plastic Manufacturers Association and FBCCI, right? We know that industries like Unilever will be using these plastic back into their packaging. And for that, we definitely need a bit of, enhancement in quality. That's where we need good laboratories here so that we can find the better world-class plastic that can be used for consumer goods as well as food packaging into the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your nice explanation on this. My third question to World Bank colleague, Ms. Yoonju Allison E., Senior Environmental Specialist. I have two questions for you as well. Question one, what are some of the global trends in circular economy and how will they be shaped up in the coming years? Number two, what plans do World Bank have to support Bangladesh move to green growth, including circular economy? Over to you, Ms.
Okay, thank you very much. I've been told that my name has some semblance to a very famous movie star in Bangladesh, so it's Unju, or Anju, I think. So as the World Bank, thank you very much for including me in this discussion. Of course, you've given me the largest questions because we're the World Bank. So you're asking about the global trends. So let me step back. And I think, frankly, honestly, I've learned a lot from our presenters today and keynote speakers. I think you all know what the global trends are. I think, for example, the Begzimco, for example, the founder as well, has made it very clear the world has moved on from the idea that we can continue to use resources in this way of one-time use. It's just not possible anymore. And it doesn't make any economic sense. It's just going to cost you more to do what you need to do. That's one. So the global trend is actually something that Bangladesh hasn't yet started, is a private-public engagement. A private-public engagement for real. A real agreement between the two, a real matter of trust, as our professor from Chittagong University has said, a real matter of trust. How are you going to move together I have been to a number of these conferences and I really appreciate the continued dialogue. But then the question is, what have we done after the conferences? Have we really sat down together between the public and private sector and said, what do you need and what do I need? So there is a global trend now. They've moved beyond, and I think I really like the virtual solar offsetting that you're going to do. That is the trend. The trend is, how do you move with private and public sector to meet global policy demands? And you know, policy is not about meeting the law. The policy is, how do we make better lives for our people? And how do we all grow together? The second question of the World Bank is quite extensive, and I can go on quite a while. I'm going to put it into large tracks, and I really do invite all of you to come back to us and ask for more details. So in largely, we're very excited because the government of Bangladesh is partnering with Bangladesh, with the World Bank, and I am leading the Green Growth Agenda across with the World Bank. Bangladesh has taken on a large commitment to make some policy shifts. We're not going to do everything in one day, but we're making policy shifts that's going to enable the environment for green policies to happen, green financing, green pricing, or green governance. So this is actually happening on the table now. First, and secondly, in the sectoral area, whether it's energy or environment or plastics, we're working very closely with the Ministry of Industry, Ministry of Environment and Energy to actually work on very sectoral ways to articulate the investments. On the area of where the environment is coming in for our plastics itself, we're bringing in global knowledge. We're going to create more roundtables and discussion between private and public sector. And I have to say one thing. I mean, we're at conferences. The largest areas, it's coffee table area, is the most difficult. I'm trying to get over them, but it's not easy. Yeah, so basically we're making a very concerted effort across all sectors. And I just want to stress one thing. Today, I don't see the Ministry of Local Government. I don't see the cities participating, and that's a real shame, because the biggest part of our solutions require collection, engagement on the public sector. We don't have that today here. I also see that we don't have anybody from Finance Ministry or Planning. And so how are we going to work together? So I think moving forward, let's be very honest about what are the roles and responsibilities and hold each other to those honesty for the sake of our country. I can go on, but I'm going to be short for the lack of time. But I do invite all of you to come back to details. The government is taking a lot of efforts right now, and Bangladesh World Bank is supporting very wholeheartedly across pollution, environment, and plastics and waste sectors. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I request people standing on the back, if you please stop your talking, would be better for the audience and also for the speakers. May I request you, please. My fourth panelist, Mr. Faisal Rabbi, Stakeholder and Public Affairs Manager from H&M. Again, we also have two questions for you. How important will circular economy be for H&M in the coming years? And number two, how can H&M supply chain in Bangladesh better prepared to embrace circular economy priorities? Over to you. We have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Zaki Bhai. It's a pleasure and honor to be here present in this panel. Thank you very much. So, very interesting question, but I have this tendency to always change the questions a bit. For instance, you asked how important it will be. I want to answer like how important it is right now for us. Basically, from H&M Group, we have these objectives in our businesses that by 2030, our supply chain, overall production, overall sales, and overall operation has to reduce GHG emission by 56%. And that is an enormous target. And by 2025, all our material needs to come from, 25% of our material needs to come from recycled sources. And by 2030 and 2040, we want to achieve full recyclability, which is not a very easy task if you consider where we are producing and what is the current situation right now. Bangladesh is a very important production market for us. It is one of the largest, if not the largest production facilities that we have here in Bangladesh. However, The circularity of this industry is not really the biggest strength right now. We can see a lot of potential here. Right now, we are one of the largest user of cotton and poly in Bangladesh. However, we have like 10, 20, 30% of waste when we are utilizing this material, and all of these are going either to India or for some downcycling or some recycling in India and other countries. So in the process, we are losing a lot of value in it. What if we could rather not send this to outside and really recycle them in Bangladesh and use it in our production process? If we could have done that, then Bangladesh could actually become one of the largest source of cotton material in the world. So that is how important Bangladesh is, how important recycling industry is, and how important we need to, importantly, it is how critical it is for us to for Bangladesh to grow in terms of recyclability and circularity. We see, when we look at this problem for Bangladesh, we see there are a couple of challenges, maybe three. One, of course, is the technology. We can see, of course, from Beximco Group, the recover is a huge success, but we want to see a lot more of that coming. We want to see more technologies for more material coming, not only for cotton, but also for poly and poly blends as well. Finance is also a big issue because all of these technologies are foreign technology, technology from outside. We need to bring them in Bangladesh. We need to make the investments happening. We need to create the environment that enable this investment in Bangladesh as well. And of course, finally, the biggest issue we see is the policy barriers. We need policies that will encourage circularity, that will encourage circular production, that will encourage such investments and technology to come to Bangladesh and create such industries that are now does not exist. Because as I was mentioning, that a lot of the textile waste that we have is now either going outside of Bangladesh or being downcycled. In many ways, we are sitting on a gold mine, which we could use and produce a lot better and a lot more and make Bangladesh more attractive and competitive to the world. Why it is super important for H&M Group, or why it is super important for the supply chain of H&M Group. European Union is our biggest market. I have Charles just sitting beside me. So in Europe, newer and newer regulations are coming, and for good causes, of course. And these regulations are putting in place certain barriers, market access barriers, penalties. For instance, there is going to be a carbon cap in all of the products that we are producing in Bangladesh. So certain products, if they are not recycled or does not have enough recycled material in it, or does have a lot of emission attached to it, then we will not be able to put these products, even though they are produced in Bangladesh, in European market. They will be blocked in the customs or something like that. So for Bangladesh to remain competitive, for Bangladesh to remain as glorious as it has done over the past decades, the success that we have are now graduating from LDC to a middle income country. We have to make sure that these policy barriers has been taken care of, the investments are coming, the technology are developed, and overall the capacity of the local supply chain has improved. The informality of the waste industry, textile waste industry, is a bit of a problem. So how can we make that a bit formal is also one of the concerns that we have. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Faisal. We are still hearing some noise from the back. May I request once again, please? Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us His Excellency Charles Whitley, Ambassador and Head of Delegation of the European Union to Bangladesh, as a panelist. Excellency, I have two questions also for you.